On sunny Southampton's Voice FM, that is Rose and Messe. My name is Zan, and this is your Green Breakfast, a planet Earth's only environmentally friendly breakfast show, unless, of course, someone tells us otherwise. And I'm delighted to say we are joined on the line by Larissa Lockwood, Director of Policy and Campaigns at Global Action Plan, because Larissa is the person or one of the coordinators of Clean Air Day. And a very good morning to you, Larissa. How are you?
Very good. Thank you very much for having me on today, Zan.
Oh, that's a pleasure. And have you been able to stick your head out the window today and get a lungful of fresh air?
I have. I've been airing the house to cool it down for the day.
Is that,
I
I
must
mean,
say, wish the air was fresher.
how well? I mean, to me, it seems reasonably fresh, even though I'm in the middle of a city. I came in this morning about 6:30. It seemed fresh. Am I deluding myself?
Well, Zan, let me tell you, yes. A big report came out today from the Royal College of Physicians, which basically shows the full extent of the health impacts of air pollution and also says that 99% of the UK population are potentially breathing toxic air. So that's probably you and me in that 99%. So, no, we do not have the clean air that we need, that the World Health Organization would say is good enough. We've got a long way to go.
But you got a really difficult job though, because we can't see this. It's not like you see that film of the smogs in London where it was just unnaturally foggy. You go outside now and the sky will be blue. It would look absolutely fantastic. Is it very frustrating that it's something that you can't see? You're trying to convince people that it's actually bad.
It is one of the challenges because this is an invisible killer. And that's why we're hoping that today's big report from the Royal College of Physicians will be quite a wake up call, because it's the doctors telling us just how bad air pollution is for our health. Because now they know that it goes, when we breathe it into our lungs, it crosses into the blood and can go round. And essentially, they've found that it can affect pretty much every organ in the body. So the lungs, liver, heart, kidney, brain, and cause diseases associated with that, from asthma to high blood pressure to dementia, cancers. And I think all of us know at least one person with one of those. And really, this damage starts quite early in life, in the womb. And then the health impacts can build up over the lifetime, with age, a bit like smoking does. So it really is something we need to be talking about a lot more and doing a lot more about. And that's why we run the Clean Air Day campaign.
Now we're talking about PM 2.5 here, aren't we?
PM 2.5, yes, and nitrogen dioxide as well. Those are two of the big pollutants of concern.
Because I do talk about that in the show every weather report, what we call it, in the air and
Great.
the sea.
Mhm.
Talk about PM 2.5, and as far as I'm aware, it's 30 times smaller than human hair. Is that a good way of describing it?
It is, although it's still quite hard to imagine, isn't it? Because that's just so,
Hmm.
so small, which is why it can sort of cross over into the blood and go around our body. This is really tiny stuff and is what many consider the particulate matter pollution, that small stuff, the PM 2.5, to be the most dangerous air pollutant. So that's the one that's associated not just with lung health, but also with a lot of heart diseases, dementia, cancers. So it's definitely one we need to tackle. And the biggest sources of it actually are, there's two big ones in the UK: transport and wood burning stoves. So those are the two that we really focus on in terms of solutions.
Are wood burning stoves that prolific?
They are growing in popularity, and while there's not heaps of them, it's about 8% of the population that have one. They are now the second biggest source of this particulate matter pollution. So it is something that we really need to think about. I think people don't understand the health harms. No one's talking about this. People don't understand it's a source of air pollution. People have put them in good faith, but people do need to understand the health impacts, both for them, because pollution comes inside the house, but also outside, because it will go round and pollute your neighbours. So we definitely need to cut levels of particulate matter pollution. And we've got 400 health professionals who've signed on to a letter today, including a number from Southampton, and they are calling on the government to set stringent air quality targets for the UK that align with the World Health Organization. Because at the moment, the government is working out what their plans are for air pollution, what their level of ambition is, so that we must aim for World Health Organization targets. We don't set ourselves targets for dirty water. So why would we set ourselves targets for slightly dirty air? We've got to go for the World Health Organization standards and work out how to get there.
But it's once again a very hard thing. I was talking about it earlier. If someone said to me, Zan, come round for a afternoon tea on a Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon rather, and I'll have the fire, have a fire on, and we'll just sit down and have a chat. And you think, oh, that sounds fantastic. It's so romantic. It's such a lovely setting, and you're looking at the fire and everything. But you're saying that actually is very negative, not only for my health, but also for the people living next door to the person burning that wood.
Yes, unfortunately so, which is a shame because it is a really nice thing. I totally get it. But for most people with burners, especially those in urban areas, we don't need them. Your friend probably has it in because it's nice and it feels good, but probably also has other forms of heating. So I just think it's a luxury we can't afford in urban areas or towns and villages where we've got sort of neighbours close by. It's not good for their health and it's not good for your health, because actually inside a house, even with the cleanest eco-design stove, can have levels of PM 2.5 pollution 3 times higher than it is in a home without one. So it can often be the biggest source of PM 2.5 pollution in the home, which then puts your health at risk, your family's health at risk, and your neighbours.
But let's not focus on them too much, because the other part of this was transport.
Yes.
And transport is everywhere. And we're talking not only about cars and trucks, motorbikes, but we're also talking about air and sea as well. And Southampton, being a port, has a lot of shipping on dockside. A lot of it has to stay awake because of keeping everything going on board. So therefore, it still has to be polluting. We've got planes flying overhead as well. And so we really are in a bit of a tricky situation here, aren't we, as far as pollution is concerned?
It is. It's going to be a challenge. It doesn't mean we shouldn't set ourselves a challenge. I think you have to aim for clean air. That's what we want. World Health Organization levels of air pollution in the UK. We want clean air, that fresh air to come into town every day. And we therefore have to work quite hard on what those solutions are. So we need to design our communities around people so that it's easy to walk, cycle, get to your school, work, the shops. So you don't have to drive so much for those short journeys, because actually a quarter of the journeys on our roads are under 2 miles, which is something you could walk or cycle in 15 minutes or so. But we do need to therefore have good walking and cycling routes, and also good public transport. So we do need affordable, reliable, accessible public transport. I actually think in Southampton today there are some discounted bus travel because it is Clean Air Day. So if you haven't tried it before, try doing your normal route on the bus.
Well, one thing I've noticed doing this show, and especially the travel, is that even if I don't know it, I can pretty well guess when there's an inset day, because suddenly the roads are empty. And it's like, well, where's all the traffic gone? And in some respects, that school run is a big part of our traffic problems in Southampton, which I find fascinating, actually, because it's probably something that you're saying similar. It's a 2-mile journey. If that could be made easier for people, then you would solve some of the problem. But it's not just pollution coming out of the exhaust, is it? Am I right in saying that tire crumb and stuff like that is also part of the problem?
Yes, it is. Tires and brake wear as well cause the PM 2.5 pollution. Actually, it's quite a big source of it. So that's why we can't just rely on sort of cleaner vehicles, sort of electric vehicles, because they will still release this PM 2.5 pollution. We also need to switch those short trips so that we're all sort of driving a bit less. So absolutely, we really need to focus on those short journeys like the school run, and making it safer and easier so that children and families do feel confident that they can walk or cycle those shorter distances to school or get the bus.
Yes, yeah, Blue Star are offering 10% off. There's a code. I haven't got it in front of me. I can find it in a second. But yeah, you stick it into their app and you get 10% off today. I mean, but buses themselves at the moment are very cheap. I mean, they are discounted. It's actually, if to try out a bus at the moment is actually a very inexpensive thing to do.
Mm.
But I've also got this flyer which I picked up from Lizzie yesterday from the Environment Centre for Sutton Air Map, which is the this advice how to get yourself around Southampton in a much cleaner way. It doesn't. It takes you away. Well, this is the thing. I see this as brilliant because it takes you away from the road. Okay,
Mhm.
but that doesn't necessarily take you away from the pollution, though, does it? Because it's a less concentrated form. Would that be a fair way of saying it? Because the pollution is still going to go up in the air and go somewhere. But at least avoiding the main routes. How much does that reduce the amount that you take in?
Yeah, I mean, especially for people who are more vulnerable to air pollution, so that's young people, older people, those with existing heart and lung conditions, walking or cycling, taking those quieter routes will expose you to far less air pollution. So it is therefore a better option for your health. Of course, just by walking or cycling on those quieter roads rather than the bigger ones doesn't necessarily reduce the air pollution. So we do need to focus on switching the trips and public transport as well. But definitely it's a good idea to walk or cycle those cleaner routes. And yeah, the Environment Centre's done some really good work on that. And we've been working with them and health professionals in Southampton as well about providing advice to some of the more vulnerable patients in Southampton about how they can protect their health, because there are things we can all do, from ventilating our home to walking quieter routes to reduce exposure to air pollution. But also, in order to get rid of the problem, we all have to do our bit to cut absolute levels of air pollution. But there's also only so much we can do. The biggest thing we can do today really is to call on our government to take this more seriously. As I say, they're currently working out what they're going to do. We've got a form on the Clean Air Day website, a template to write to your MP. So I'd really urge everyone to go on there, write to your MP, tell them that you want clean air and that you want this government to set World Health Organization targets for air pollution and an action plan to get there.
I'm glad you mentioned the home because that ticked into my head what Dr. Tom Daniels mentioned the other day to me. He's consultant up at the hospital, talking more about pollution in the home. And I know someone listening is going to go, no, 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 please stop, stop, stop. But having experienced, I had one, I borrowed his ammo tube, which was able to show me where the pollution was in my life. And it was connected to an app. So one day I went to someone's house out in the countryside. And I was going, look, 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 this is absolutely perfect. And then cooking a roast at home and then seeing how much it went into the red with the amount of pollution that was in the kitchen was absolutely fascinating and also a little bit worrying.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the same with like cleaning products. And even I think in here I mentioned I saw the burning of candles in one of these flyers I got yesterday, the burning of candles. I can imagine incense is the same.
Mm-hmm.
And also anything smelly that you might have in the air. Are people going to be going, no, no, this is just too crazy? We stop, or are you saying to people that really consider what you're doing with the air around you because this will affect you and your loved ones?
Uh, The latter, yes. I believe people should have the information they need to make informed choices, and people need to know that a lot of household products do create air pollution. And essentially, anytime you burn something, you will be creating air pollution, whether that's candles or incense, or on a bigger scale, using your wood burner or your gas cooker. I don't know if you're picking up nitrogen dioxide with your monitor, but a gas cooker is often the biggest source of nitrogen dioxide pollution in the home, causing far more than the current legal limits of air pollution. You wouldn't see levels of outdoor air pollution as high as you will in your kitchen when you're cooking on gas. So again, it's all part of this need to sort of stop burning fossil fuels, because that's where not just the carbon emissions are coming from, but the air pollution emissions are coming from, whether that's in our cars, with petrol and diesel, or whether that's in our boilers and cookers. With gas, we really need to transition away from the burning of fossil fuels and have cleaner energy in our homes, in our vehicles, and communities that are designed so that we don't need to drive so much in the first place. But yes, indoors, definitely using a wood burner less will definitely reduce levels of air pollution, and switching from a gas to an electric cooker will also make a huge difference. And in the meantime, because I know not everyone can do that straight away, it's important to ventilate. So that's the crucial thing with indoor air pollution. Open the windows to ventilate when you're cooking and when you're cleaning, especially.
There's some wise way of going, what if you open the windows, all the pollution is going to come in? But in some respects, you're saying potentially in the house, it's more polluted when you're cooking via gas or doing other things than it is actually outside.
Yes, it can be. So when you're cooking and cleaning, definitely open the window. And yeah, I understand the argument. If you are on a busy road, it's better to open the windows on the side away from the road, or to open the windows outside of rush hour, at quieter times of day or night, to get rid of the air pollution. So it stay trapped in your home, you see. Outside, it sort of can go into the air and sort of dissipates. It can't do that in the house. It sort of gets trapped inside, mixes with all the other pollutants in the air. So you really do need to get it out.
Ventilate. That's the message I've got.
Oh no, the key message is stop burning fossil fuels and write to your MP and tell
Okay,
them
well, I'm on board with that
World
one
Health
already.
Organization.
Okay, I'm on board with that one already. But
Yeah.
the new thing I've got is ventilate, but also don't accelerate and reduce your braking as well. I mean, that's going back to what you said earlier about electric cars. I know for a fact that they're fantastic fun to drive, but they're very quick and you accelerate a lot. And I went once to a tire company, and the chap was saying that electric cars, their tires reduce quicker than other people, mainly because people just love the acceleration. So I can imagine it's the same for the brakes. And if you're saying that it's crumb from tires and also brake is part of the pollution problem, then ultimately we just have to be just calm, careful drivers.
That will help as well, yes. But ideally to drive less in the first place. So those short journeys, let's focus on walking or cycling them instead, taking public transport where we can. But then when we do need the car, because of course there are definitely times that you do, driving a cleaner vehicle and driving it well. There's quite a focus now on eco driving, to benefit both climate change and air pollution.
Fantastic. Well, I've got the code. It's fairly obvious now. I've seen it. CAD, Clean Air Day, 2025. And if you put that into the Blue Star app, you will get 10% off a day rider ticket. And if you are going to plan a journey today, or maybe just look at a journey for the weekend, SouthamptonAirMap.com. We'll put that out on our socials, SouthamptonAirMap.com. And that will give you a cleaner route around Southampton, something you can walk or cycle or wheel. And it's ideal for those who like planning. Of course, if you're the kind of person that's very instant, I'm going out now, maybe not ideal for you, but it's maybe better if you're not scrolling through Instagram. Stop doing that, or TikTok. Just avoid it for 10 minutes and think, my next route next week, I might try this way. But that is SouthamptonAirMap.com. Well, that has been a fantastic and eye-opening conversation. And Larissa, thank you so much for speaking with us. You're Director of Policy and Campaigns at Global Action Plan, coordinator or one of the coordinators of Clean Air Day, and really appreciate the amount of time you've given us here on Your Green Breakfast.
Thank you very much.